we've been in this house for about 10 years and I never felt like it was like a home. The kitchen was like dated and needed replacing, and then our lounge, just the way it was laid out, wasn't very well laid out for us as a family. So there was quite a lot to do and we kind of didn't really know where to start with it all.
We had a pretty clear idea of what we wanted to do. I think Pinterest was our favourite place for almost a year leading up to things. But one of the challenges is just trying to bring things together and see how things would work out. We knew who Woolrich were and what they did, and my wife Mel had spent a lot of time doing some research on reviews and feedback, and we were pretty comfortable that we'd found a company that was local. Reputation was important to them, so that's really the reason we went with them. To be honest, the early relationship building made us feel really comfortable with the renovation. You have a lot of people coming and going from your house. We pretty much had to surrender our house over and we were living in the basement. But there was never a time where we didn't feel comfortable with who was upstairs or what was happening.
In fact, we got to know a lot of them really well. The kids felt really comfortable around the people that were in. They would be saying, "Oh, are they back today? Awesome," kind of thing. They were great with our pets because our pets were always wandering about, so they'd make sure the dog and the cat, were fine and didn't escape.
There was, like any construction project along the way, we had a few things where we weren't quite sure if something was right or something didn't make sense. But again, we didn't feel uncomfortable going back to the team and saying, this doesn't really work for us, or would you mind having a conversation?
If we were ever worried about anything, then we would just ask them. There was never, we just asked what's going on, or, with this or that, and they'd get back to us. So we never really, they dealt with our concerns if we had any straight away.
Anyone that does a project and doesn't expect something to go wrong is naive. So it's really about, do you get a feeling that things are being dealt with? And I think we did, in most cases.
The quartz for our worktops and our huge breakfast bar was probably one of the biggest challenge, because it was on order and it was on a container, and then it didn't arrive and they couldn't track it, and Woolrich worked really hard with the supplier to find out what had happened to it, because we spent a lot of time selecting it. At that point, and it was near the end of the renovation, it was, do we leave the worktops and you'll just be partially complete for Christmas, or will we try and find something else? We looked at everything. There was no pressure. We just talked about everything, and yeah, we found one that I can't even remember the original one. I love the one that we've got.
I think this bar certainly is by far the favourite part. I mean, this has changed how we behave as a family, to be honest. We spend a lot more time with our boys sitting around here. Not that we didn't in the past, but just having this place here that we can sit and do homework, or work on our laptops, eat meals, have our breakfast. It's just become a bit of a magnet for people getting together.
It's an area we never had in the house, and we just love it. I love the most probably my range, my cooker, and the tiles and the wood, because it's so unique. You don't see it a lot, it's so different, and it's so us.
There's no question in the quality of the work that was done. I mean, really, really happy with that. But I think more so was the fact that we just felt natural in the conversations.
Best bit about Woolrich is it's not just like you're getting somebody in to do your kitchen and you're telling them what to do. They work with you. So it's all about, getting my ideas, Alistair's ideas, all our ideas, and then they took them and worked with us. And I love that.